Jimmy Kimmel's show got indefinitely suspended from ABC. Obviously, this goes all the way up to the White House. I believe the FCC appointed chairperson, the FCC chairman appointed by the Trump administration, if I'm not mistaken, was basically throwing his weight around. And apparently ABC caved. And so Jimmy Kimmel, after making some remarks in regards to what happened with the whole Charlie Kirk, I guess we're calling it assassination. I don't want to say anything to get us in trouble. I mean, but from who though? Anyways, so apparently people are in uproar. Is this First Amendment rights? Like, what's happening? Like, are we in America? Is this America still? So what are your thoughts about this whole thing? We had to talk about it because we talk too. And so who knows what can happen when you're talking and how people are moving, especially at this level. What are your thoughts about this?
I'm concerned. I'm really concerned. You said, like, is this America? It's not the America we grew up in, and I don't know when we're going to see that America again anytime soon. I think this is only the beginning, or maybe we're just like getting into and accelerating into the deterioration of the things we came to believe were just American values and American principles, like freedom of speech, right? Comedians used to be able to tell a joke because people knew they were telling a joke, right? So that you had the creative license there, right? And what he said, I'm not going to repeat what he said. You can go play what he said. What he said was not unreasonable. It was not unreasonable. It may have made somebody feel bad or whatever, but the young man who was killed said things that made people feel bad. No one, and he didn't deserve to be killed for that, and he didn't deserve to get canceled, right? It's a free country. We are used to champion the ability for different ideas to be heard in the public square so that people could weigh it out and decide what they were going to believe in and what they were going to follow. Now we're in the midst of an administration that is systemically rolling back and unwrapping these protections and creating such an era of fear for even speaking anything against the president or his agenda that, I mean, there's beginning to be very little difference in what I think it would feel like living in North Korea and living in America, right? They've defunded public media. They defunded so many things that were in the middle, and they are purposely backing things that are very far right. Matter of fact, the FCC guy, when he said what he said that made ABC pull Jimmy Kimmel off the air, he wasn't at a press conference. He didn't tweet it. He was doing a podcast or a radio show of some right-wing guy. And he was like, yeah, if they don't take Jimmy Kimmel down, then the FCC is going to have to do some extra work. Now, the backdrop of this is ABC is trying to get a deal. Now, excuse me, a company that is a very big part of ABC's success is trying to get a cable merger, right? And they carry Jimmy Kimmel, and when they caught the heat, that's what forced ABC to pull them back. So it was like a domino effect. But my big problem here is the intentional silencing of dissent, to creating an atmosphere of fear where you cannot express any sort of dissent, no matter how reasoned, right? And that's just not what we were founded on as a country. It's a dangerous time. It's a real dangerous time.
I agree that it's a dangerous time. I actually think it's ironic as well because he technically did not talk per se. He actually talked about the people response to it and how they tried to say that it was anybody but, and how even one person, who won't say his name, was like, oh, we hope that we prayed for 33 hours that it was not one of us, basically, because he wanted it to be somebody else, because he didn't want it to be somebody that looked like them. All he did as a comedian was point that out, which was true and factual. What I find ironic, though, is that one of the first executive orders that went out there was about the censorship from the government censorship and overreach. And is this not government censorship and overreach? Because are you not respecting a private company ability to do what a private company can do within its own stance? And not only that, what concerns me, Ashley, is the fact that we yell freedom of speech. They were yelling freedom of speech, but not for anything pertaining to this person. Freedom of speech. They made multiple memes and actually did skits of George Floyd. They did skits of Trayvon Martin, and it was no big deal. It was just free speech. But now somebody just talked about something that somebody said directly out their own mouth, and now it's an issue. So it's the hypocrisy for me. And I think that's also where we're seeing this, overreach. And the last thing I would say is that because of this whole political business minded aspect of it, this is one of the problems with having media being controlled by basically 5 companies, or supposedly allegedly by 5 companies, because it's easier to pressure them when something such as media is in the hands of very few. And so therefore they're more likely to cave into pressure because they still have a business aspect that they want to accomplish, and they can only accomplish that through the approval of the government. And this is what my concern is that this is, to me, this is exactly what government overreach looks like. However,
Yeah, I mean, as interesting as cancel culture being wielded by the other side, who's decried it for 5 or 10 years. That's interesting, but in this particular case, I didn't think it was a really big deal. I did a little digging, and what I found was they were planning on getting into his show anyway. I think like next year or maybe like the year after. They've already ended Stephen Colbert's show. I think this was a convenient way to just end his show now. That's my personal opinion. They were going to do it anyway. Like, okay, look, let's just get him up out of here now. This is the response doesn't really equate to what he actually said, and you guys were all completely accurate about that. So it seems a bit disproportional. I think they planned on getting him up out of there anyway. This was just their way to do it now.
Wow. I feel like this story is a lot of nuance to a certain extent, right? Because it's not like the government directly did anything. If I understood what occurred, somebody said something, and then the other side decided to do something based off what somebody said. Now, I get it that it's implied that there's risk. If you have a merger on the table with the FCC, then yes, the chairperson or whoever they make decide to fuck you up. But they didn't necessarily. I guess kind of what I'm getting at to a certain extent is where's the balls at? From the front to back. It's a song, right? Wrong song. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make is, right? Sorry, is where the girls at. Never mind. Where the girls at? From the front to back, and when you feeling. Anyways, but no, in all seriousness, because from what I understood, a lot of people, this administration has made a lot of overtures in court. And by and large, most of the time, they've lost, right? For people who decide to actually fight, they lost. Because Trump is litigious, and people can bully and muscle people if they know they can use the system against them, right? Like even with the whole Harvard thing, Harvard had to expend a lot, but Harvard had a lot, though. Like it's not like Harvard is in a poorhouse. They can't afford to mount a credible defense because all that money that you have, all that endowment, like what the fuck is it not for than to protect yourself, to be able to function in the way that you've always have. So what I'm saying is that too often it seems like people be so quick to like give up, fold, and whatever. So maybe you guys are right. There could be other motives, but we've seen people fold a lot. And when I say people, I mean the left, right? Like what I get tired of is the whoa is me. I'll wake up when y'all do something about it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm so indifferent. It's not even funny. That's part of the reason why I'm looking for an escape route for real, because I can't even band with y'all because y'all ain't going to really fight for real. The fact that we can't even talk freely sometimes speaks to how pussy we are as a society. So it's like, I see what's happening. I see what's about to come. So the best that we can do is prepare accordingly, right? Now, if you want me to talk about the nuance of it all, listen, they could threaten whatever. The government did not take an official action to stop an individual from saying a motherfucking thing. People who have power use influence all the fucking time. You know what I'm saying? I hate that it sucks. Colin Kaepernick, I mean, we've seen the litany of times that between commerce and making the right decision for the sake of commerce, that people do that shit all the time. Right. And it may not necessarily be directly the violation of the First Amendment. The First Amendment says that Nixon should be able to say something and I can't get jailed or imprisoned or whatever. But it doesn't mean that I have the right to do business necessarily. Like, where is that in the Constitution where I have a right to a merger? Is that in the Constitution too? So, yeah, they're playing big boy games for real.